Something is wrong with the fossil. The skull is too long, too narrow. The teeth aren't rounded or cone-shaped the way you'd expect. They're blade-edged, serrated, built for slicing through muscle and bone. And the legs are all wrong. They don't splay out to the sides the way every crocodile you've ever seen moves. They go straight down, directly beneath the body, like a wolf, like a lion. This is not a dinosaur. This is not a mammal. This is not anything most people have a category for. This is Carnufex carolinensis, the Carolina butcher, and until 2015, almost no one on Earth knew it had ever existed. But here's what makes this stranger than it already sounds. This animal, this two-legged, blade-toothed, sprint-capable apex predator, is an ancestor of your crocodile. The flat thing sunning itself on a Florida riverbank, the one on every wildlife documentary, the one that hasn't needed to evolve in millions of years. That animal is what's left of this lineage, and understanding what happened between this skull and that riverbank changes everything you thought you understood about which animals actually rule the Earth. 231 million years ago, North Carolina. Except it isn't North Carolina. There's no Atlantic coast. No Appalachians. No continent called North America at all. The land that will one day become Chatham County, North Carolina, is welded to Africa, to South America, to Europe. One enormous supercontinent called Pangaea, sitting just above the equator. The climate is punishing. Hot. Tropical in a way that would feel alien today, a world of dense fern forests and river systems under a sky with more carbon dioxide than you've ever breathed. This is the late Triassic period, and in this ecosystem, the Carolina butcher is the thing everything else is afraid of. Carnufex was approximately 9 to 10 feet long, roughly 3 meters, and the specimen paleontologists found was almost certainly a juvenile. Adults were larger. It walked on its hind legs, fully bipedal, moving across the landscape the way you'd expect a predatory dinosaur to move, not a crocodile. Its skull was long and knife-like. Its teeth were blade-shaped, designed not to grip and hold but to slice. It was the apex land predator of its entire region, the top of the food chain, the thing that had no predators of its own. Its prey included dinosaurs, heavily armored reptiles the size of large pigs, and early mammal relatives, small warm-blooded ancestors of the animals that would one day inherit the Earth. The Carolina butcher ate them. It was that far ahead in the hierarchy. And it wasn't alone. During the late Triassic, from roughly 237 to 201 million years ago, the dominant land animals on Earth were not dinosaurs. This is the part that rewires everything. Early dinosaurs existed. They were real, but they were small, relatively rare. Marginal players in ecosystems they didn't yet control. The animals that ruled the land were a group called Pseudosuchia, the false crocodiles, a vast evolutionary radiation of reptiles that included Carnufex and dozens of other lineages of predators, herbivores, and everything in between. One of these was Pseudosuchus, a 6-meter quadrupedal apex predator that looked like what would happen if a crocodile and a tyrannosaur had a nightmare together. It walked the same world as Carnufex, competed with it, ruled alongside it. For tens of millions of years, this was the world. The Pseudosuchians dominated, the dinosaurs waited, and then everything ended. Approximately 201.4 million years ago, at the boundary between the Triassic and Jurassic periods, something catastrophic happened. Massive volcanic eruptions, climate collapse. An estimated 75% of all species on Earth went extinct. The end Triassic mass extinction is one of the 5 worst killing events in the history of life on this planet. Every non-crocodilomorph Pseudosuchian died. Pseudosuchus, gone. The armored dinosaurs, gone. The great ruling lineages that had dominated land ecosystems for tens of millions of years wiped out in geological eye blink. Carnufex and the hypercarnivores like it appear to have died in this event too. All that specialized killing equipment, the blades, the speed, the bipedal sprinting, wasn't enough. What survived were the small ones, the generalists, the crocodilomorphs that could eat almost anything. Insects, plants, carrion, small vertebrates. The animals that weren't locked into one specific ecological role. The survivors weren't the most dominant, they were the most flexible. And after the extinction, with the ruling Pseudosuchians gone and the landscape suddenly open, they exploded into every available niche. Aquatic hunters, terrestrial predators, herbivores, generalists. For the entire age of dinosaurs, crocodilomorphs filled roles you'd never associate with the animal you picture today. Then came the second extinction, 66 million years ago, the asteroid. The end Cretaceous event that killed the non-avian dinosaurs and reset the world again. And again, the survivors were the flexible ones, the semi-aquatic generalists, the animals that could handle cold water, lean times, months without food, wildly unstable environments. The ancestors of every crocodile alive today. Now, back to that fossil. Paleontologist Lindsay Zanno and her colleagues at NC State University and the NC Museum of Natural Sciences described Carnufex carolinensis in 2015, publishing in the journal Scientific Reports. The specimen came out of Chatham County, North Carolina. Skull fragments, vertebrae, ribs, a left humerus. Enough to reconstruct its outline, enough to understand what it was. When a journalist from Live Science asked Zanno what you'd feel if you encountered one alive, she didn't hesitate. "Abject terror," she said. Her colleague Vince Schneider was equally direct. "Climb up the nearest tree. These are scientists, people who spend their careers handling ancient bone in quiet laboratories." And that's how they described it. Now meet Kaprosuchus saharicus, the BoarCroc. 95 million years ago, the Sahara Desert, except it isn't a desert. It's a vast, lush environment of rivers and wetlands, alive with fish and giant prehistoric coelacanths, and animals that have no modern equivalent. Paleontologist Paul Sereno and macroevolutionary biologist Hans Larsson lead an expedition into what is now Niger, Africa. They are not expecting what they find: a skull, nearly complete. And unlike anything in the fossil record, Kaprosuchus had 3 sets of enormous interlocking teeth, upper and lower, that worked like a wild boar's tusks. No other known crocodiliform had anything like them. Its eyes faced forward, not to the sides. That single detail matters more than almost anything else. Forward-facing eyes mean depth perception. Depth perception means judging distance. Judging distance means actively hunting on land, chasing prey, not ambushing from water. The skull-based estimate placed it at approximately 6 meters, roughly 20 feet long. Sereno nicknamed it BoarCroc himself. When you see the skull, you understand why immediately. Here is what this all adds up to. The crocodile is not a primitive animal. The crocodile is not a living fossil that got lucky and never needed to change. The crocodile is the sole surviving branch of a 230 million year lineage that produced bipedal apex predators, interlocking tusked land hunters, and dominant ecosystems that the dinosaurs themselves had to wait out. It has survived 2 of the 5 worst extinction events in Earth's history. It has watched the dinosaurs rise. It has watched the dinosaurs fall. It has outlasted nearly everything that ever walked, swam, or flew on this planet. And the reason the most dominant, most terrifying members of this lineage died, while the generalists scraped through, is a question paleontologists are still actively working to answer. A study published in April 2025 in the journal Palaeontology, led by Keegan Melstrom and Randy Irmis of the Natural History Museum of Utah, is still trying to map the full shape of that mystery. Go back to that fossil. That skull that's too long, those teeth that are too blade-like, those legs that go straight down instead of out. You know what it is now. You know what it came from, what it ruled, what came after it, and what, against all apparent probability, survived. The next time you watch a nature documentary and a crocodile lunges from a riverbank, you're not watching a primitive ambush predator that got lucky. You're watching the end of an empire. Here's the question worth sitting with. We spend a lot of time calling animals primitive, unchanged, unspecialized, somehow lesser for having stayed the same. But what if surviving 2 mass extinctions, outlasting the most dominant animals that ever lived, and still being here 230 million years later, isn't primitive at all? What if it's the single most sophisticated survival strategy life on Earth has ever produced? Leave your answer below, because I don't think we've figured it out yet.